Some people are born carrying a quiet weight, not loud, not obvious, but heavy. From the very beginning, there is a sense of being out of place, like standing in a room where everyone speaks a language you understand but never fully feel. While others move easily with the crowd, this person pauses, watches, thinks. And that pause changes everything. In the first 10 seconds of this truth, understand this: the world does not reject weakness first. It rejects difference first. Stay with this till the end, and you will understand why what feels like a curse early becomes an advantage later. The silent difference is not something you choose. It shows up before you have words for it. In childhood, in classrooms, in social circles, you notice patterns others ignore. You feel emotions more deeply. You ask questions that make people uncomfortable, not because you want attention, but because your mind refuses to stay shallow. And slowly, without anyone explaining it to you, you realize something is off. You are not broken, but you are not fitting in either. Human psychology rewards similarity. The brain feels safe around what it recognizes. Familiar faces, familiar thoughts, familiar behavior. When someone moves differently, thinks differently, or stays quiet when others perform, the brain reads it as a threat, not a danger, a disruption. So rejection begins early, not loudly, not with cruelty at first, but with distance, with exclusion, with being overlooked. The rare personality learns this lesson fast. You are not invited. You are not chosen first. Your ideas are ignored until someone else repeats them louder. You feel invisible, yet too visible at the same time, and this creates a deep internal conflict. Part of you wants to belong. Another part refuses to fake who you are just to be accepted. That tension is painful, but it is also formative. What most people never see is what happens inside during this stage. While others are busy chasing approval, the rare personality turns inward, not out of arrogance, out of necessity. When external validation is missing, the mind is forced to build internal structure. Values form early. Identity sharpens early. You begin asking questions like, who am I when no one is watching? That question alone separates paths. Psychologically, early rejection creates one of two outcomes. It breaks a person or it builds depth. The rare personality feels the pain fully, but instead of running from it, they sit with it. They observe it. They learn from it. This creates emotional intelligence that cannot be taught, awareness that cannot be copied, and patience that cannot be rushed. Silence becomes a companion, not empty silence, productive silence. In that quiet space, imagination grows, self-trust develops. While others borrow confidence from applause, the rare personality learns to generate it internally. This is slow, uncomfortable, often misunderstood, but it is powerful. The world often mistakes this silence for weakness. People assume quiet means unsure. Depth means slow. Sensitivity means fragile. But psychology tells a different story. Restraint requires strength. Awareness requires courage. And staying true to yourself when rejection is constant requires more power than blending in ever will. At this stage, the rare personality does not shine, and that is the point. Seeds do not announce themselves while underground. They prepare. They grow roots in darkness. They push through resistance silently. The person who succeeds late is not late by accident. They were building something most people never even thought to start. If you feel like you've been behind from the start, understand this. You were not delayed. You were being developed. Early rejection was not a punishment. It was a filter. It removed distractions. It forced you inward. It trained you to survive without approval. Stay till the end of this journey, and you will see how what rejected you early becomes the very reason you rise later. What happened to you early on was not bad luck. It was not timing, and it was not because you lacked value. Early rejection follows a pattern, and psychology explains it clearly. Human beings are wired to protect the familiar. The brain seeks comfort in sameness. Anything that challenges the norm feels unsettling. So when someone shows depth, originality, or quiet intensity too early, the system reacts, not with curiosity, but with resistance. The rare personality disrupts without trying, just by existing. You don't repeat what everyone else says. You don't move at the same speed. You don't laugh at the same things. This creates discomfort in people who rely on external validation. When someone else seems internally grounded, it exposes their insecurity, and the fastest way the mind protects itself is by pushing the difference away. This is why rejection often begins before success even becomes a possibility, before you have results, before you have proof. People don't reject what you've done. They reject what you represent, a mirror they didn't ask for, a standard they didn't choose, a depth they are not ready to face. Psychologically, groups survive by agreement. Shared beliefs, shared behavior, shared limits. The rare personality threatens those limits simply by not accepting them. So the group responds with exclusion, not always openly. Sometimes subtly. You are overlooked, talked over, kept at a distance. The message is quiet but clear. Be like us or stand alone. And many people give in at this stage. They shrink, they perform, they trade authenticity for belonging. But the rare personality often cannot do that. Something inside refuses, even when the cost is loneliness. Even when the pain is heavy. This resistance is not arrogance, it is integrity. Early rejection is the price of not betraying yourself. It is the cost of staying aligned when conformity would be easier. And while it hurts deeply, it also protects you. It prevents you from building your life on borrowed values. It forces you to define success on your own terms. This is where strength begins forming quietly, not visible, not rewarded, but real. When rejection becomes familiar, loneliness follows, not the loud kind, the quiet kind that sits beside you in empty moments, the kind that shows up when there is no one to call, no crowd to blend into, no approval to lean on. For most people, this kind of loneliness feels unbearable. But for the rare personality, it becomes a turning point. Psychologically, isolation removes distractions. When external voices fade, the inner voice grows louder. At first, that voice is uncomfortable. It questions you, doubts you, forces you to confront who you are without labels or applause. Many run from this stage. The rare personality stays. Loneliness teaches self-reliance in a way nothing else can. When no one is watching, you learn to work anyway. When no one believes, you learn to believe for yourself. This is where inner strength is formed, not through motivation, through necessity, through repetition, through showing up when no one is there to see it, while others depend on social energy to move forward. The rare personality learns to operate alone. This rewires the brain. Confidence stops coming from approval and starts coming from competence, from progress made in silence, from standards held privately. This stage often feels slow, heavy, emotionally demanding, but it is deeply productive. The mind becomes sharper, emotions become more controlled. You begin to understand your own patterns, your triggers, your limits, and your potential. This self-awareness is rare because most people never spend enough time alone to develop it. Loneliness also builds patience. When you have no shortcuts, you stop rushing. You learn to sit with discomfort without escaping it. And this patience becomes a weapon later in life when others panic under pressure. What looks like isolation from the outside is actually training, mental endurance, emotional discipline, internal clarity. The rare personality does not come out of loneliness weaker. They come out calibrated, grounded, hard to shake. By the time the world starts paying attention, this strength already exists, quiet, unseen, but unbreakable. Strength built in silence changes the pace of growth. The rare personality does not rush forward after loneliness. They move carefully, thoughtfully. Every step is tested before it is taken. While others sprint toward quick results, this person builds slowly. And psychology shows why this matters. Fast growth often relies on external fuel, praise, pressure, competition. But slow growth relies on internal structure, values, discipline, long-term vision. The rare personality is not motivated by noise. They are motivated by alignment. They want their actions to match who they are becoming. That takes time. This is where deep roots form. Habits are built quietly. Skills are sharpened privately. Thinking becomes layered and precise. Instead of copying what works for others, the rare personality studies why things work. They don't chase outcomes, they master processes. And processes compound. From the outside, it looks unimpressive. No sudden rise. No dramatic breakthrough. Just consistency that no one claps for. But psychologically, this slow pace protects them. It prevents burnout. It prevents identity collapse when things go wrong, because their sense of self is not tied to quick success. People often confuse speed with progress. But speed without foundation creates fragility. The rare personality understands this instinctively. They would rather arrive later with stability than early with weakness. So they let time do its work. Deep roots also mean resilience. When setbacks happen, and they always do, the rare personality does not panic. Their confidence is not recent. It has history. It has survived boredom, doubt, and isolation. That makes it durable. This phase teaches delayed gratification, one of the strongest psychological predictors of long-term success. Choosing effort now over reward later. Choosing growth over recognition. Choosing depth over display. While others rise fast and fall faster, the rare personality keeps building underground layer by layer, year by year. What grows slowly grows strong, and when the moment finally arrives, they are not surprised by success. They are prepared for it, because roots built in darkness hold firm in the light. Slow growth invites judgment. When progress is quiet, people assume nothing is happening. When confidence is calm, they mistake it for doubt. The rare personality experiences this again and again, labeled as soft, unambitious. The world often misunderstands what it cannot measure. Psychologically, people judge strength by visibility. Loud voices sound confident. Fast movers look powerful. Those who speak less are seen as unsure. But real strength does not need constant expression. It exists whether it is seen or not. And the rare personality carries a kind of strength that does not announce itself. Restraint is mistaken for fear. Thoughtfulness is mistaken for hesitation. Emotional control is mistaken for weakness. But the truth is simple. It takes far more strength to pause than to react, far more courage to stay silent than to perform, and far more discipline to wait than to rush. This misjudgment creates another layer of pressure. You start realizing that people expect less from you. They don't see your effort. They don't sense your preparation. And instead of correcting them, the rare personality often lets it happen, not because they agree, but because they are focused on something deeper than approval. Psychology calls this delayed assertion, power held back until it matters. The rare personality does not waste energy proving themselves to everyone. They conserve it. They sharpen it. They choose their moments carefully. Being underestimated is painful, but it also creates freedom. When expectations are low, pressure is reduced. Mistakes are allowed. Exploration becomes safer. While others are trapped maintaining an image, the rare personality is quietly evolving beyond theirs. This stage teaches humility without self-doubt. You learn that your worth is not decided by how loudly others recognize it. You stop needing permission to believe in yourself, and that belief becomes steady, independent, unshaken by opinions. Those who mistake you for weak are reading the surface. They don't see the control beneath it. They don't see the discipline holding everything together, and they don't realize that when someone learns to move without being seen, they also learn how to strike with precision when the time is right. What is misjudged today becomes undeniable tomorrow. Underestimation does not last forever. Time has a way of revealing what noise hides. The loud lose energy, the fast lose direction, the performers burn out, and slowly, quietly, something shifts. The qualities once ignored begin to matter. Psychologically, time removes illusion. It strips away hype and exposes substance. What was built on appearance starts to crack. What was built on discipline stays standing. This is where the rare personality begins to separate completely from the crowd. Years of quiet preparation start showing results. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but steadily. Decisions become sharper. Work becomes more precise. Pressure is handled with calm instead of panic. While others react emotionally, the rare personality responds strategically. This is when people start noticing something they can't explain. You didn't change your personality. You didn't become louder. You didn't chase attention. Yet somehow you are ahead. The same traits once criticized are now respected. Your patience looks like wisdom. Your silence looks like confidence. Your restraint looks like control. Human psychology respects consistency over time. Anyone can be impressive for a moment. Very few can remain solid through years of effort. The rare personality understands this instinctively. They were never in a hurry to prove anything. They were focused on becoming something. Time also exposes intention. Those who chase success for validation lose motivation when praise fades. But those who work from identity stay disciplined even when it gets boring. That difference becomes visible eventually, and when it does, it cannot be ignored. What once felt like rejection now feels like preparation. You realize you were spared from shortcuts that weaken character. You were forced to build slowly, correctly, deeply. And that is why when opportunity appears, you are ready instead of overwhelmed. This is the moment when the world begins to adjust its perception, not because you demanded respect, but because your presence commands it naturally. The truth was always there. Time simply removed the distractions hiding it. When truth begins to surface, it is built on something deeper than talent. It is built on pain that was never wasted. Every moment of rejection, every season of being ignored, every misunderstanding left a mark. But instead of turning into bitterness, that pain was shaped into discipline. Psychologically, pain demands a response. Most people numb it, escape it, distract themselves from it. But the rare personality does something different. They study it, they ask what it requires, and slowly, pain becomes structure. It turns into routine, into standards, into a refusal to live below potential. Discipline formed this way is not forced, it is earned. It does not rely on motivation, because motivation fades. It relies on memory, the memory of what it felt like to be overlooked. The memory of promising yourself that you would never stay small just to make others comfortable. This is where consistency becomes natural. You don't need to be pushed. You don't need to be watched. Work gets done because it must, not for praise, not for validation, but because discipline has become part of your identity. Pain also sharpens focus. You stop wasting energy on proving yourself to people who never tried to understand you. You invest that energy inward, into skill, into mastery, into progress that speaks without explanation. Psychology shows that discipline rooted in emotion is far stronger than discipline rooted in reward. Rewards disappear, pain remembers, and the rare personality uses that memory wisely, not to suffer endlessly, but to stay sharp, grounded, relentless. What once hurt you now protects you. It keeps you from complacency. It keeps you from shortcuts. It reminds you that growth has a cost, and you already paid part of it early. This is why your progress becomes unstoppable at this stage. Not fast, not flashy, but steady, unavoidable. Pain no longer controls you. You control it. You've turned it into order, into momentum, into a discipline that does not break under pressure. And this is something no one can take from you. Success that comes late is often misunderstood. People see the moment, the recognition, the achievement, and assume it happened by chance. They think luck or timing finally aligned. But psychology shows a different truth. Late success is deliberate. It is the natural outcome of preparation, patience, and quiet persistence. The rare personality does not chase applause. They do not work for short-term reward. Every action, every choice, every sacrifice was aimed at building something permanent. While others focused on being seen, they focused on being strong. While others sought approval, they sought competence. And competence compounds over time in ways recognition cannot match. This is why late success feels inevitable once it arrives. Not because it was fast, but because it was built to last. What was ignored earlier becomes powerful now. Skills developed in solitude are sharper. Insights gained through reflection are deeper. Decisions made without distraction are wiser. Every rejection, every lonely hour, every underestimation contributed to this moment. Human psychology rewards consistency and depth over speed and appearance. The crowd may celebrate what is loud and flashy, but real achievement demands resilience and integrity. The rare personality carries these qualities naturally. They do not need to perform for others because their work speaks for itself. And when the world finally notices, it recognizes what cannot be ignored. This is also why late success feels more satisfying than early recognition. Early victories often leave gaps in character, in discipline, in understanding. Late success comes to someone who is ready to handle it, someone who has internal strength, someone who can sustain it. It is not fragile. It does not crumble under pressure. It is earned, tested, and unshakable. Every struggle, every rejection, every moment of being misunderstood contributed to this outcome. It was never random. It was never unfair. It was preparation in disguise. Late success rewards those who learn to move quietly, who learn to endure, and who learn that timing is not measured by the world, but by growth itself. The rare personality is proof that what is ignored early can dominate later. What is rejected early can define the future. What is misunderstood early can become undeniable. And the more invisible the effort, the more powerful the result. When the rare personality finally rises, the shift is subtle at first but undeniable. The same people who ignored, doubted, or dismissed them now watch closely. Influence changes hands not because of force, but because of presence. The qualities that were once invisible suddenly carry weight. Patience becomes authority. Silence becomes respect. Restraint becomes power. Psychology shows that perception follows substance. People respond to what they cannot control. When someone moves with purpose, grounded in preparation and discipline, their confidence radiates without effort. Others may have spoken louder or acted faster, but the rare personality's depth cannot be imitated. Time and experience give their actions gravity that noise and speed never could. This is the moment where the advantage of being misunderstood becomes clear. What was once a source of pain now becomes leverage. The rare personality is no longer defined by the opinions of others. They are defined by their own standards, their own progress, and their own resilience. And that independence commands attention naturally. The shift in power is not about revenge or proving people wrong. It is about reality catching up. The rare personality never changed to meet the world. The world changed to recognize them. Those who once underestimated them are now compelled to respect them. That recognition is earned, not demanded, and it carries more weight because it comes from truth, not performance. This stage also brings clarity. The rare personality sees who truly matters and who only reacts to appearances. They no longer waste energy on approval that never existed. Every interaction, every decision, every opportunity is evaluated through the lens of experience and discipline. Their influence is precise, intentional, and unwavering. The shift in power teaches a critical lesson. Being early is not a disadvantage, and being misunderstood is not failure. Strength built quietly, patience developed in solitude, and resilience forged through rejection create a force that eventually cannot be ignored. And when that moment arrives, the rare personality stands steady, unshaken, and fully in control of the impact they were always meant to make. Being different was never a flaw. It was always your edge. Early rejection, loneliness, being misunderstood. These were not setbacks. They were the tools shaping something rare, something powerful, something unstoppable. The qualities that made others uncomfortable are the very qualities that will define your success. Psychologically, humans fear what they cannot understand. Original thinking, intense focus, quiet confidence, these trigger discomfort in the majority. That discomfort often leads to rejection, but it also protects the rare personality from following the crowd. While others seek approval, you are learning to lead yourself. While others copied, you were discovering authenticity. And authenticity always becomes strength. Every early struggle was training for endurance. Every underestimation was training for clarity. Every moment of being alone was building self-reliance. The world may have judged your pace, your silence, your intensity, but these were the exact conditions that prepared you for late, lasting success. Your difference allows you to operate outside limits others accept. You are not bound by their timelines or their standards. You create your own rules. Your progress is not dependent on applause or recognition. And this independence is rare because most people spend a lifetime trying to fit in instead of standing out. When your moment arrives, the advantage of being different becomes obvious. People notice depth, precision, and discipline that cannot be faked. What was once questioned becomes admired. What was once rejected becomes essential. What once felt isolating now becomes empowering. The rare personality understands this instinctively. Early rejection is a filter, not a failure. Being misunderstood is preparation, not punishment. Loneliness is development, not weakness. And all of it leads to a success that is unshackable because it is built on who you truly are, not who the world wanted you to be. Embrace your difference. Protect it. Refine it. The qualities that set you apart now will define your path. What makes you rare is what will make you unstoppable. Your timing, your strength, your growth, they were never late. They were always aligned with the life only you are meant to create.